What's up, guys? Welcome back to Legends Never Die, where neither will you if you know Jesus. I feel like a lot of people do goals for like the collecting year, for their hobby year, but not many people review them, maybe not at all, and some only do it at the end of the year. But I thought it would be cool to review my 2024 goals here, basically halfway through the year. We're right now at the end of June. I also wanted to get out one more video before Hobbypalooza because myself and Dom Manna over at Statement Sports Cards, we will have a live stream for Hobbypalooza over on For Collectors channel this Saturday, June the 22nd at 8 p.m. So if you guys want to hop over for that, that'd be great. We'd love to see you there. We're going to be talking the different ways to collect Hall of Fame autographs. But for today's video, I want to talk to you guys about my collecting goals for 2024, how I'm doing so far, and kind of a prediction a little bit of how I'm going to end up. So I'm going to present this to you guys and walk through the list. We'll read through it together, and we'll go from there. So my 2024 collecting goals, there are 24 of them, I believe. First goal is to go to the 2024 National. I've got my room booked. I've got my roommates lined up. I'm staying with Dom at Statement Sports Cards. I'm staying with Sammy of Sammy Thunder. And I am staying with the Drew of Vintage Legacy. So we will be in Cleveland together. And I look forward to checking that box. It's going to be awesome. If you plan on going to the National, make plans to say hey to me. I would love to see you again if I know you already. But I would also love to meet you if I don't yet. Goal number 2 is to meet one new Hall of Famer. And I had hoped to accomplish this goal through the National. Meet at least one new player, either get a Perez Steel custom signed or maybe a letter for my son, Luca. I don't know. There's a chance I may do it for the sake of kind of keeping that going. I mean, all my goals are designed with a purpose for my overall collecting goals that are part of the end there. But I try and make them all kind of feed into that. And it's been really cool to meet some Hall of Famers and get autographs, but the prices at the National this year have really gone up with the new ownership of the National and with the Fanatics takeover. It may be the new normal, unfortunately. Maybe I decide that I'm going to get Ozzie Smith. I need to talk to Mike, baseball collector, and see who he's going to do. Maybe we can do that one together, but we'll see. The third goal was for me to add 500 vintage cards this year. So in theory, all these goals, mostly the percentage ones, you would think I'm about 50% away to be, or 50% done and 50% away, if I wanted to be on pace for this year. So far, I've added 53 vintage cards of that 500, which is 10.6%. Now, I anticipate that number going up. 50s is one of my favorite eras. I'm likely at any point to pick up Topps, Bowman's, Redman's, any of the 50s cards that I need. So I still feel fairly good about that one, even though the percentage is kind of low. Moving on to goal number 4, add 50 60s cards. That's a tongue twister. Add 50, the number of cards from the decade of the 60s. Not my favorite decade, but I am, building the sets slowly. It's a smaller goal, but I've only added 4 cards from the 60s so far, which is 8%. I'm not optimistic on hitting that goal, but who knows? We'll see. That could go up quickly. Goal number 7, add 20 1930s cards. I have added 0 so far. Wow, no progress. But there's a whole half a year left. 30s is another one of my favorite decades. I'm collecting the 1933 Gaudis, 34s, and the 38s, as well as the 39 play balls. Those are all cards that would hit that number, and just 20 of them. There's a lot in the drawer. I expect some of them to come out at the end of the year after Christmas. If you know, you know. So I expect that goal to at least have some progress. I don't know if I'll get to 20, but we'll see. Goal number 8, add 5 T206s. Kind of baked into this one. My main target at the National is to add a T206 green background Ty Cobb. I inherited some money from the passing of my papa, my mom's father. And I rolled that in with some other funds. I've been trying to move some cards to build that up so that I could go after one of those. I'm building the Monster, the T206 set, after acquiring my cousin's begin his starter set, if you will, for T206. And this is probably my best shot to add the Cobb, which is the most expensive card for me that I'll be doing in a 520 set. I know Drew, Lefty NDV10, and Max Jackson. I don't know if they watch my videos, but they know exactly what a 520 is for the T206 set. And that's what I'll be going after. And that green Cobb's currently the most expensive if you're not going for all the back variations or something like that. Next, well, and in terms of all 5 T206s, because I've added 0 so far, I think I will hit this goal. I've got some in the drawer that I believe will be coming out at the end of the year. The next goal, add 10 new Hall of Fame autographs. I've added 2 so far. That's good for 20%. Way to go, all you mathematicians out there. I do think there'll be a few more. We'll see kind of what happens at the National. I may run into 1 or 2. I shockingly need a lot of the cheap end Hall of Fame autographs. Little sidebar here. Overall philosophy as part of my goals. I tend to shoot for the biggest items that I can that are currently on my want list, because in my eyes, those are the cards that are more likely to either stay expensive or become more expensive first. And it's not that I want the value to go up necessarily, but realistically, it probably will. And so I try and buy at the top end of my budget, or what I can shoot for, as often as I can. It'll be much easier to pick up, $20 autographs that are $20 now, 10 years from now, of Hall of Famers that may go up, as opposed to, $100 cards, multi-$100 cards, or comma cards that are already way up there for me. So I could accomplish that goal if I really wanted to, but I tend to stick to my philosophy of buying the bigger or mid-tier autographs first. That's how I have a Babe Ruth, because I couldn't afford one today had I not bought it years ago. Goal number 10, complete the 1954 Redman set. I only need the Richie Ashburn, with or without tab. It doesn't matter to me. Preferably, I guess I'd rather have one without tab first. It'd be cheaper. This is kind of one of my side quests for the 2024 National. After I buy Cobb, this is something more affordable I can spend some time looking for if I have any money left. So keep your eyes peeled for a 54 Richie Ashburn Redman card for me. That's the one where it looks like the background is he's like on an infield or like a sandlot of some kind, some green and brown in the background. That's the 1954 Redman Ashburn. So that's one of my targets. Another one of my goals, goal number 11, is to add 5 UNC autographs. I am actually a UNC Tar Heels, North Carolina Tar Heels basketball fan first, believe it or not. That's why I love this Father's Day baseballism hat that my son got me and my wife got me. It is the Father's Day light blue with the patch there on the side, number 1, Dad. But it's Tar Heel blue, white, and gray. So it fits a lot of things and matches a lot of things that I have. But for this goal, I do have one that I've added already. I've got a few more just sitting at COMC. All I have to do is pay for shipping, and I would accomplish that goal. And I anticipate doing that at some point towards the latter part of the year. I just like to build that stack a little bit more at COMC to make the shipping worth it. Goal number 12, add 1 playing days mantle. The thought process behind that, it's been a goal on my list for several years now, is that if I add 1 playing days mantle every year for the next, 10 plus, I'll be close to completing his run, other than the 51 Bowman and the 52 Topps, which never say never. You can do anything you stick your mind to. You save your money for long enough, but those are unlikely. However, all the other ones are within my range. I own the 53 Topps mantle. I own the 52 Bowman mantle. So most of the ones I need still are smaller numbers in what they cost compared to those. So adding 1 playing days mantle from his playing days run for all my sets, chipping away at that every year, I think is a good thing to do. because Mantl's popular, like it or not. Goal number 13, get to 40 different Hall of Fame bobbleheads. I started the year at 35. I'm actually over this goal. I've completed it already. I've gotten to 41, so that's pretty cool. However, I will still be looking at bobbleheads at the National, I hope, because those are harder for me to find at regional shows now. I just don't see them as often. And paying for shipping over and over again for bobbleheads, $10 plus a pop, gets expensive quickly, and I'd rather pay for those in person if I can. Now, goal number 14 is a YouTube relevant goal. It was to get to 1,000 subs on YouTube. I started the year at 911. I finally cracked 1,000, which is pretty dang cool. And if you're still watching this video nearly 11 minutes in without me showing any cards, thank you, because you're a big part of that. I appreciate everybody's support. It's been a lot of fun sharing my collecting journey and making friends here through YouTube. My wife thinks I'm a crazy person that I would fly halfway across the country to carpool with 5 guys, Don, Bob, Scott, and ride to the National 6 hours away from Pittsburgh to Atlantic City, and then stay with another group of guys, Mike, baseball collector, JT, Silver Jackify, Eric, those back pages, when I went to AC, and I'd never met any of them in person. And I'm an outgoing guy. I like making friends. So YouTube's been an awesome way for me to make those things happen within the hobby. So thank you for helping me crack 1,000 subs and for being my friend. Next, goal number 15, add to Luca's letter collection. I haven't added any this year. I've actually added 0. I hit them so hard early on that I hit all of the more affordable guys that do TTM, the cheaper private signings, that kind of stuff. So now I'm getting into more expensive ones. However, Dwight Gooden is signing at the VIP party at the National, and I think I'm going to do one for Dwight Gooden. I might as well, right? I think that would be the coolest thing for me to get signed by him and get one done for Luca. So I think I'll accomplish that goal and get at least one this year. Because later in this year, I'll be having my second son. He's doing November the 1st, and I get to start that project all over again for my second son. But anyways, we'll get to more of that later this year. Now, goal number 16, add one vintage set or add one card to every vintage set that I'm working on. I've hit 11 different sets of the 48 vintage sets I'm building right now. That is good for 22.9%. I don't know if I'll hit every single one of them by the end of the year, but I know several of them are going to be hit from the drawer. I'm hoping to at least hit 50+% of those, at least 24 different sets. I always enjoy that goal because it makes me feel like I'm making progress in a lot of different areas and growing a lot of different sets, because they're at all different points. There are some that are literally single digits away from completion. There are other sets that are hundreds of cards away. There's some that I have, 3% of. But I enjoy making that set progress as a whole, and that's a cool way to track it, I think. Goal number 17, add 25 Hall of Fame playing days cards. I've added 7 already. That is good for 28%. I am really confident that I'm going to hit that one. Because that can be anything from a playing days card of a Hall of Famer in the Topps run from the 1980s all the way back to, my pre-war and my golden era sets. Those count as long as they're a Hall of Fame playing days card. Goal number 18, make progress on shrinking the drawer. Started at 9.4 thousand. We are going the wrong way. It's at 11.8. If you know, you know. I'll just leave it at that. I'm not optimistic on getting below that, but we'll see. Goal number 19, complete the 1978 top set. I started the year lacking 9 cards. I now lack just 4. And they're actually commons and team cards. This is another one of my side quests for the National. I believe it's the Yankees team card, the Orioles team card. It's a random Red Sox common, I think a random Yankees common, like not Hall of Famers, not stars, if I remember right. Just 4 cards left. I hope to find those cheap at the National. Goal number 20 is to add 5 autographed baseballs. I've added 2 already this year. So 40% of the way there. That's pretty good. Another thing I want to be looking for at the national, because they become so hard for me to find regionally. There's one guy that sets up with autographed baseballs regionally, and he wants like triple eBay prices for every autographed baseball. I will never buy from him. So I would like to buy some at the national and save on shipping. Goal number 22, complete a vintage basketball set. I'm only doing two, 1970-71 Tall Boys and 1969-70 Tall Boys. I'm actually just 5 cards away from 1969-70 Topps Tall Boys. I need the Havlicek rookie. I need the Jerry West rookie. Chet Walker is a common that I need. And Bill Bradley rookie card. And one other common that I can't think of right now. But it's just 5 cards. I've got the Lou Alcindor rookie. I've got the Wilt Chamberlain. I've got the Oscar Robertson. I've got the Elgin Baylor. I've got a lot of the big cards, other than, Havlicek and West are decent cards, but they're not the biggest by far. So that's possible. We'll see how much Cobb costs me, and then we'll look around in Cleveland. Goal number 23, get to 65% of total collection completed. So this is where everything I add that's on my list of over 24,000 items, whether it's a 1970s common for a set or it's a Lou Gehrig autograph, they still count the same, one item. So anything is progress. I started the year at 61.52%. I have grown all the way to 61.61%. Now, you may be thinking that is not much growth. Yeah, it's progress, but not much. You may not get to 65%. Well, there are two things with that. Number one, it takes a lot of items to move the needle when you're talking 24,000 items. So it takes a little while. Number two, when I add like a lot of 70s cards, which I still need a lot in the early and mid 70s for my sets, it's crazy. But when I do that, that makes that number go down fast. But when I add bigger items like a Ty Cobb, T206 card, it still only counts as one. That barely moves at a fraction of a percentage. So there are pros and cons to making, progress on that. But I do like seeing it year over year, how much closer I grow to my total list. Because if you think about it, I'm in this thing for life. I don't see myself as a short-term collector. I've been collecting since I was 9. I'm one of the rare people that never stopped in high school, in college, when I got married. Like, I have never stopped collecting. I've always been adding at least a little bit to my collection every year. And while what I want, the number grows a little bit, there's a ton of stuff on there. So it doesn't grow a lot really quickly. Sure, when a new Hall of Famer gets in, I add his stuff. A lot of them I target ahead of time, though. My point being that I am 33 years old and I am 65% complete on everything that I want, give or take a little bit. I think that's pretty good. If my collecting life was until I was 65, which I'm halfway there, I'm over the halfway mark on what I would like to acquire in my life. I'm just weird like that I like goals. I like percentages. I like having a plan. So that's why I do that goal. I like to see it grow year after year. And finally, goal number 24, shout out to my boy, the Drew, shout out to my boy, Jared, shout out to my boy, Will and Dom, because they talk to me about this all the time. They make fun of me when I do it. But goal number 24 is don't add any new vintage sets, which I'm very guilty of most years. I started the year with 1962 Post. That happened in December of last year. So I was able to avoid doing that in 2024. And I haven't added any since. We are halfway through the year and I haven't added any vintage sets. I haven't been able to do that in several years. So I'm very proud of myself and I hope it stays that way. If you have stayed with me to the end to hear me talk about this, thank you so much. I know I love videos like this. I love collecting goals. I love spreadsheets. I love percentages, talking progress, all those things that for me are part of what make the hobby a ton of fun. So I hope you will continue to follow along with me. I know at the end of the year, I'd like to show all of the items I picked up to help me accomplish that goal. I hope to make progress both in Cleveland and see a lot of you guys and have you be a part of that, but also add some things throughout the year through some never-ending trades I've got going on YouTube, things I acquire and share with you guys. And, I've received some care packages this year too that have contributed to it as well. But I hope you enjoyed following along. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you keep collecting. If you're still here, leave me a comment about your collecting goals and how you're doing. God bless.